I want to know how you, as a woman, feel about overpopulation in the world and its relation to polluting the environment.
How does Yoko feel about overpopulation? As a woman, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, I think the problem is not overpopulation as people believe it to be, but it's more of the balance of things. What, like food, some part of the world there's wastage of food, and in some parts, nobody has food. That kind of a balance, if that is solved, I don't think we would be worried so much about overpopulation.
I think it's a bit of a joke the way people have made this overpopulation thing into a kind of myth. I don't really believe it, I think whatever happens will balance itself out and work itself out. It's all right for us all living saying, oh, well, there's enough of us, so we won't have any more. Don't let anybody else live. I don't believe in that. I think we've got enough food and money to feed everybody. And I think the natural balance, even though old people will last longer, I'm sure there's enough room for us, and some of them can go to the moon anyway.
You mean you think there's enough, if it were
I don't believe overpopulation, I think that's just a kind of myth that the government have thrown out to keep your mind off Vietnam and Ireland and all the important subjects.
Oh, I think you're wrong about that.
Oh, I don't care.
Yes.
Once a person has gained an understanding of the true realities of this world we live in, and this is not as difficult a task as you may at first think, because due to its complexities, the illusion the elite have created that most perceive as reality is a very fragile one. It is fragile because it is not reality. The reality is that the world does not have to be this way at all. It does not have to be heading in the direction that it is heading. People do not have to live in a never-ending sea of self-generating debt. Wars do not have to be fought, and children do not have to starve. And don't think people starve because the world is overpopulated. Don't believe what the television tells you. The world isn't overpopulated at all. In fact, let's look at it realistically with a simple comparison of population versus land mass, and we can do a rough estimate and formulate a quick hypothetical to demonstrate this very easily. There are approximately 6 billion people in the world, and there is 2.97 million square miles of land in the island continent of Australia. 2.97 million square miles breaks down to 1,900,800,000 acres, which then converts down to 7,603,200,000 quarter-acre blocks of land. So, we could hypothetically give every person in the world a quarter-acre block of land, and they would all fit into an area the size of Australia. Each would have enough land that they could all have gardens and grow a substantial supply of their own food. And we would still have 1,603,200,000 quarter-acre blocks, or an area roughly half the size of Queensland, left over, plus the entire rest of the world. Now just pause to let that sink into your brain for a second. All the people, that's every man, woman and child on Earth, would comfortably fit inside Australia. Each individual person could have a quarter-acre block of land, and we would still have half of Queensland and the entire rest of the planet left unoccupied. The world is not overpopulated at all. It is just very badly managed, and you need have absolutely no doubt whatsoever that this bad management is intentional and it is methodical. It would, however, be very simple to fix things, and all that is required is for people to wake up to how much they are being lied to and how much they are being scammed. And this goes for everyone. People really need to gain an understanding of how this system actually works, because this bad management is crippling the world and it is crippling the people. The methods that are used to do this become truly transparent once a person has gained a clear enough vision to see it, and people really do need to open their eyes and see it right now, because now that the world has been made smaller, and now that all the resources have been discovered and there are no frontiers left to conquer, the criminal elite intend to carry out a mass depopulation of this world, and their plan to do this is well underway. They are doing it in the Middle East with war, in countries such as Africa through starvation, and now in Western countries through water additives, aerial spraying, and through the introduction of toxic and nutrient-deficient genetically modified foods.
In 1979, I became the first American social scientist allowed to go to the People's Republic of China and do research. The Chinese government welcomed me into the country, and all doors were open to me. I found myself in the middle of the most horrific population control campaign the world has ever seen. The people of China are for the most part limited to one child. The government of China declares women who are pregnant to be carrying illegal children. It arrests them for the crime of being pregnant, and it forcibly aborts them. I was present when women 7, 8, and 9 months pregnant were forced to lay down on the operating table. And in some cases they had to be held down while they were given lethal injections into the womb to kill their unborn child. This is not ancient history. This policy that I witnessed enforced in 1980 continues to the present day. I witnessed horrible human rights violations, and all of this was being done in the name of the idea that China had too many people. Then I left China with the pleas for help of these women ringing in my ears. I had stumbled upon my life's work. I set out to fight against the idea that there were too many people on the planet, and to fight specifically against human rights abuses in population control programs. In 1995, Father Paul Marks invited me to come and head the Population Research Institute, where we work to expose human rights abuses in population control programs, and also to expose the myth of overpopulation. It seems that every time the wealthy West goes into a developing country and says, "You have too many people," human rights violations follow as surely as night follows day. Overall, we have cut almost $800 million from population control programs funded by the United States and others. Some of that money we have been able to have transferred into primary health care programs, which help bring needed health care to poor women and families in the developing world. These population control programs will not end until the myth of overpopulation is completely dispelled, until people around the world understand that human beings are the ultimate resource, the one resource you cannot do without.